Everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name's Christina and today is a spooky story Sunday. Happy Halloween, everyone. I know Halloween was technically yesterday for most of us, or a couple days ago for a lot of us now. In case you are still in the spooky mood, this will be the last spooky story Sunday happening for this Halloween season. I know. I'm really sad about it as well. Basically what these videos were me sitting down doing my makeup with you guys and telling you guys a spooky tale, and I figured to wrap up this season of spooky stories, I would tell you my own spooky story. And I don't mean one that I've made up, I mean one that actually happened to me. So before I jump into telling you guys my spooky tale, my paranormal story of ghosts, definitely make sure to hit that subscribe button if you would like to see more from me. Again, I will be telling other stories throughout the year, and I'll probably be doing sequences in series very similar to this. But there is also now a playlist of spooky tales, so if this is the first video you've seen from me, welcome. There is a whole playlist for you guys to go watch. I hope you enjoy it. And now, let's get into this story. So I've mentioned this a couple of times now throughout this series that as interesting as ghost stories and paranormal stories are to me, I'm generally what you would call a skeptic. Not really sure if I believe in it. I've heard stories from family members, and my dad and my sister told me some really good ghost stories the other weekend and like firsthand accounts that happened to them. But overall, I'm still a skeptic because I always say that, well, I've never technically seen a ghost. So this story, I can't explain. I can't explain how this happened. And I keep brushing it off as, oh, it was just a hunch, or oh, it was just a coincidence that this all happened. I alluded to this in my last spooky story video where I talked about how I unknowingly stayed in a haunted hotel, and that is going to be today's spooky tale of how I came to find out that I was staying in a haunted hotel and how I accidentally ended up there. Also, in case you are new to these, I don't talk about the makeup at all in these, so if you want to know what I've used on my face, it will all be down in the description for you. So this story takes place a couple years ago. Let's throw it all the way back to the good year of 2017. Oh, what good times. If only we knew. In 2017, Michael, who is now currently my husband, he was just my boyfriend at the time, we decided around Labor Day we wanted to go take a trip to DC to see our good friend, who I'll call David for now. His name's not David, but to keep him anonymous in case he doesn't want to be included in this story, David. We went to go see David. Michael and I frequently travel, and we don't typically book our hotels through like an actual, we don't Google hotels in an area and then dwindle it down by looking at their websites. We usually go through like hotels.com and find the best deal for the like nicest hotel that we can find in a general area of where we are. Typically we try to be pretty close to the things that we want to do. That way we don't have to pay so much in Ubers, or we can walk. We tend to walk most places, especially if we're going to like a metropolitan area like DC. We ended up taking like the metro and all of that. So we generally base our searches off of that. So we don't typically research the hotels we end up staying at. So around Labor Day, we are booking our stay and we're like, okay, we're gonna stay just for a weekend just so we can hang out with David and like explore the area. He had just moved back to the area and he had a new apartment and he just generally wanted, you know, us to hang out with him, which we were cool with. I love DC. I've been to DC many times. I really enjoy going. So Michael and I were living in North Carolina at the time, so we didn't fly in, we drove in. So we had our car and everything, but we drove in to the area and we pull in to our hotel. And pulling into the hotel, it was a nice hotel. And we were excited because we got like a really good deal on it. We're like, oh, this is a really nice hotel. It has like a beautiful back garden. It's beautiful, really, really nice. Very excited to be here. Can't wait to start this trip. So we are going to go check in and we're walking into like the main lobby area. And the main lobby area it's nice, but like you can definitely tell that it's like an older hotel. It's just kind of, the style of the lobby is a little dated. I think it has like, or it had green carpet. I think they said that they were about to start renovating it when we stayed. But it had like dated green carpet and just some Art Deco-y vibes to the furniture. So overall, it feels old. I tend to like older things. I like antique shopping and all of that. So I don't think that's what alarmed me. What alarmed me was just the general feeling in the hotel. Like as soon as I walked in, I was like, I don't know what's going on, but something just feels sus. But I think like all skeptics, we all are generally like, it's just a feeling. There's no merit or basis to any of these feelings. So I'm going to acknowledge these feelings, but I'm not going to dwell on them because like, what's the point? That's, you know, basically where I was at this point is, feels like a spooky hotel. I can't prove if it's a spooky hotel or not, but it feels spooky. After we're all checked in to our room, we get our bags, we go towards the elevator, and we're going up to our room. We're up on like the 7th floor or so. I believe that's where we were, the 7th floor. And even the elevator is just kind of old and creaky and nice. You could tell at one point it was probably really, really nice, but just a little dated. But overall, okay. It was a little small, so I remember there was other people in the elevator with us, which now, because of COVID, we were so close to people. What was that like? But we get off the elevator and we go to get our room. So the way the elevator was it was like in an alcove, and then there was like a U-turn area that you had to go to get to the hallway where all the rooms were. So when you get off the elevator, you just see a wall and like 2 separate directions to go in. That wasn't, you know, that strange. It's like, okay, cool. This is just how the elevator's set up. That's fine. So we round the corner of our little creepy U-turn and we find one of the creepiest hallways I have yet to ever walk down. It immediately felt weird. It was a really, really long hallway with dated green carpets. The lights were dingy. I'm thinking this scene, that's what it looked like. I was waiting for the twins to just pop up and scare me. I was sitting with those feelings of knowing, okay, the ambiance is just bizarre, but you know, that's no reason to discredit a place. It just has spooky ambiance. The kind of ambiance that I don't mind, typically. But I just couldn't shake a weird feeling. But I was like, you know what, it's fine. We won't be here much. We typically, when we travel, we stay out a lot. We go to a lot of places. We generally have things that we're gonna do. So really, our hotels are just for sleeping and for getting ready for whatever activity we're doing. So again, I tried not to think about it too much. We get into the room, however, and I don't know, like, I couldn't explain this, and I even told Michael, and me and Michael frequently talk about this because he just thinks this is so bizarre. I walked into the room, we put our stuff down, and I'm sitting in there, and I'm just staring at the room. I'm just staring into space. Michael's like unpacking, checking the room out as he usually does, and I haven't moved. I immediately feel weird and uncomfortable. And again, this is something that I can't explain. The room wasn't bad. Like, it's not like there was visible, well, Wallace, that was the loudest sigh possible. It wasn't like there was visible like blood stains or like defecation stains or something that would make me feel appalled or strange or uncomfortable. There was nothing wrong with the room. The room was perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. But I just had a feeling something was not right. So it had been a long drive, so we decided, you know, I'm gonna shower, I'm gonna, you know, refresh, we're gonna go out and we're gonna meet David to eat dinner and just hang out with him for a little bit. So I'm in the bathroom and I'm about to get in the shower and I feel uncomfortable like in the bathroom. I feel like someone's watching me. And so I look out the door because I left the door open to see if like maybe Michael's looking in the bathroom and being a creep. He wasn't. He was like laying on the bed watching TV. He was oblivious. I was like, there was a window right next to the shower. So I was like, oh, maybe someone outside can see me right now. Let me make sure these blinds are like fully closed. And they were. I was like, well, if they can see me through that, they're not seeing much, but I just couldn't, it just felt like someone was looking at me. Again, I brushed it out of my mind and I was like, okay, let's just get ready. Let's go out. It's no big deal. Let's get out of this hotel. So we go out, the night's fine. We end up having a great time. We end up going back to the room pretty late that night. We're getting ready for bed and I feel okay at this point. I think I had a couple drinks, so maybe I was just more relaxed. I'm not sure, but I did still say when we walked back into the hotel, I remember telling Michael, it still kind of feels creepy. But I was like, oh, it's fine. I'm just overthinking it, you know? So we get back to our room. We've gotten ready for bed. We're laying in bed watching the TV, which the TV was right across from the bed. So the TV was across from the bed. Next to that was like a little like sitting area, and then there was like a little cubby where the door was. So everything from the bed, you could see the door, you could see the little sitting area, you could see the TV, and you could see the door to the bathroom. If you need to know anything about my husband can fall asleep in literally 5.2 seconds. I wish I was joking. He can fall asleep so fast. He can fall asleep through anything. He can sleep through it all. I've seen this man literally fall asleep in the middle of a sentence. He can sleep. I, however, typically in a normal, unhaunted place, have a really hard time sleeping. It takes me a while to fall asleep. I have to be in the right mindset. I have to make sure I've taken my anxiety medicine for the day. I have to make sure that I'm just good. I have a hard time sleeping generally, and the place felt weird to me, so I knew I wasn't gonna be sleeping very easily. So I was really hoping that like we would watch something on TV, I would get distracted, Michael would stay up, and I would generally feel comfortable and fall asleep naturally on my own. Is this what happened on this night? It is not. It did not happen. I was up all night, basically tossing and turning because it felt like someone was looking at me all night from the doorway. And I woke Michael up at one point. I was like, I feel like someone's in the room. And he was like, what are you talking about? There's no one in the room. I'm like, it feels weird. And I think at one point Michael actually got up and like looked outside the door, like in the peephole, because I felt like someone was out there. And he looked and was like, there's no one in the hallway. He even opened the door, and I even told him, don't open the door. What are you doing? Don't open the door. He opened the door. There was no one in the hallway. No one was walking around. Nothing. It was quiet. So he checked the bathroom for me. No one was there. And he fell back asleep. I, however, kept waking up constantly feeling like someone was at the door or next to me. And it would shift. And there would be times where I'd be like, I don't feel that anymore. It's weird. And again, I've never had anything like this happen before. I can't explain it. Like I said, this happened 3 years ago, and me and Michael still talk about this trip because we just don't know what happened. We don't know what I was feeling or how I was feeling it. We knew nothing about this hotel. We knew nothing about anything. So the next morning, Michael wakes up, he's refreshed, I am not. Typical. We have another day out, so we go out, we enjoy the day again, we go see the monuments, we go to a couple of museums, we go to like a food truck festival with David, and we get back and I feel weird again. It's not like I feel weird immediately upon arriving. It's like something that happens gradually. There will be times where I'll be like, oh no, I'm fine. Like this feels fine. I don't feel like anything's looking at me. And then something will happen and I could feel it again. Like someone was there. I sound crazy explaining this story. I sound legit crazy, but that's what was happening. So Michael was like, well, why don't we look up the hotel and see if it's haunted? Because maybe you're picking up on something. I've never had any experiences like this before, but like maybe something happened here and you're just feeling it? Question mark? I said when I started the spooky series, me and Michael watch a lot of paranormal shows. We typically like to watch, we call them our spooky shows, and we like to watch them together. And this has been a tradition the entire time we've been together. So he was like, well, maybe you're like some of the people from the show and you're just picking up on something. And I remember so vividly being like, don't you dare look anything up. I do not want to know while I am here if this place is haunted, because it will make it so much worse. I was like, you're not looking up anything until we have checked out and we are on the road away from this place. Nay, we will not be bringing back a ghost to our house. He obliged, he listened, he was like, fine. But again, that night, I did not sleep. It felt the same. It felt like someone was either at the door, like standing in the doorway, or standing next to me in the bed. And I would open I remember there was like so many times I opened my eyes to look, and I'm blind. Hello. Hi. I have like -4 eyesight, so I can't see anything. If a zombie apocalypse happened and I lost my glasses, I'm done, because I can't see. I'd have to just hope that I developed bionic hearing and could wield a weapon without being able to see anything, which I guess is possible. We're not talking about zombies though, we're talking about ghosts. Anyways, I'm very blind. Like I'd wake up and be like, I can't see anything, so nothing's there, but everything looks like shadows to me. So I frequently don't trust like my eyes at night. This is why I don't like having like mirrors in my bedroom, because I see things easily because I'm blind. So I would wake up a lot this next night and would feel like I'm seeing stuff, but I remember I would just stare at the wall in front of me, because there was like the bed was in like a little tiny cubby, so there was like a corner wall right here, and I would just stare at it and be like, there's nothing here. But I would wake up and that was a problem. I could feel the energy coming from over here from the door. And I was like, I'm not gonna look over there, I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna get through this night, we're gonna go home, and I'm never gonna have to deal with this feeling ever again. But other than that, nothing really happened. There was one point in that night where it sounded like someone was walking outside the room, but Michael wasn't awake, so he couldn't go check the hallway for me. So I don't know if it was something or if I was actually hearing someone walking. I think actually the night he did check, the door had been moving, and that's why he opened it to see if someone was walking, but there was no one. Now that I think about it, that's creepier. Yeah, like the door shifted. You know, like when people walk down hallways, sometimes the doors shift in like old places, or like if they walk past and the wind kind of moves it from like them moving quickly. That's what the door was doing frequently. I just remembered that's why he ended up looking down the hallway, not just because I had a feeling. Yeah, that's creepier now that I think about it. I don't like that. I don't like it. The next day, end up leaving and going home, and Michael finally is like, well, let's stop to get breakfast and we'll look up the hotel. And I was like, fine. That's fine, because we're leaving. The hotel we stayed at was called the Omni Shoreham in Washington, D.C. And lo and behold, when we look it up, they have a freaking ghost suite. We didn't look this up before arriving because the truth would not make me feel any better. So I did not know this. Did not know there was a ghost suite. Their main suite, their presidential suite basically, is called the ghost suite because unfortunately it has ghosts. They have a whole section about their ghost suite if you want to stay there. It doesn't say anything else about the rest of the hotel being haunted, but I'm pretty sure if I looked at the layout, I'm pretty sure we were under the ghost suite. Like where our room was, we were the floor beneath, like under where the suite is. So I don't know if I was picking up on some weird residual ghost action, or they just don't like to tell people that all of the rooms are haunted. The only ghost they claim is in the ghost suite. Otherwise, they just talk about how beautiful the property is, which it is. It has this beautiful like garden in the back with these double staircases in the back. Beautiful. We walked around that night. We enjoyed the bar in the hotel that night. Like it was a really pretty hotel. It just sucks that I'll never be back because it's haunted. I always want to put air quotes around haunted because, again, I didn't technically have like an experience. I didn't see anything. Well, I might have heard something, but it could have just been other people. I'm telling myself it was other people, but it's not like I had ghost equipment with me, which I'm not sure if that's real or not. So like, I have a hard time being like, oh, I had an experience, but I just had a weird, unsettled feeling, which me and Michael have traveled a ton. And I can't say I've ever felt like that in any other hotel or Airbnb that we've ever stayed at. I can't explain what happened, how I felt that way. And then it turns out that the place was actually haunted and we were under the floor where supposedly the haunting is. So like I said, it is now called the Ghost Suite in the hotel. It is Suite 870. So the story from the Ghost Suite is connected to a man named Henry Doherty, something like that. This man, he was a financial baker at the Shoreham Hotel at the time, and he was the current resident, or the former resident, he might still be the current resident. He was the former resident in the suite at the time. He was basically a wealthy capitalist, as you know, and he had part ownership of the Shoreham Hotel at the time as well. So not long after the Shoreham opened to the public, the rest of his family ended up moving into the penthouse with him, which by the way, it's 4,000 square feet, like holy crap. Or it was 4,000 square feet. Huge. But his wife Grace and his daughter Helen Lee moved into the penthouse with him, or the suite. They also had a live-in maid with them named Juliet. After living in this swanky suite for a while, their maid woke up one night at 4 a.m., which was frequently a time I woke up while staying here, feeling severely ill. Very sick. She woke up and she was like, yep, I don't feel good. She decided to get up and go to the telephone to make a call for help for 911, someone to come help her. And it said that on the way to the phone, she collapses and dies. There doesn't seem to be any connection to anything with her death. They just thought it was a tragic event, so nothing really comes of it. They're just like, oh no, she died. After that, the father ended up passing away in the suite, as well as the wife ended up passing away in the suite, leaving just the daughter, Helen, to live in the suite by herself. And if you're about to guess, oh, did she die in the suite too? She did. They all died. They all died in there, which isn't abnormal. Like a lot of people die at home. It's not that strange, you know? But Helen's death is a mystery. They don't know if it was by her own doing, a drug overdose, or by evil. By 1973, the apartment ended up being vacant, just full of this antique furniture, and they eventually turned it into a suite for the hotel. Once people started staying in the room, there was a lot of complaints about loud noises, banging, walking, just loud neighbors generally, and almost never were there any people around the suite that would be able to do that. Not only that, but housekeepers, hotel workers, and guests have all said they've seen furniture move, or they've left and the furniture has been moved in their absence into a position or in a place where they knew they didn't put it themselves, which was always confusing to them. So a lot of guests would think, oh, are hotel workers coming into my room when I'm not here? And when they shouldn't be in here, they've already like cleaned and all of that. What is going on? So a lot of complaints started happening because of that, because people thought that people were, you know, obviously going through their stuff. But then hotel workers were like, no, like we've noticed that too. I'll put something somewhere and then it'll end up somewhere else before I've even left the hotel. So those stories are really frequent as well. And the hotel workers and especially the cleaners that come into those rooms say all kinds of stuff happens. I even saw, when we looked this up at our breakfast, the story that stood out to me was a guest was staying in the room and there's a piano, or there was a piano in the room at one point. I don't think there is now, which is why this story stuck out to me, because the guest kept saying he kept hearing piano playing, and not like modern day pop music, like what young ladies would have played when they were told to learn piano. That's what it sounded like. It sounded like someone who was taught to play piano and she was performing for an audience. Not only that, a lot of guests say that lights flicker on and off, there's a heavy presence in the room, and it almost always feels that way at 4 a.m. A lot of people think that this happens because Juliet died at 4 a.m. and she's still stuck there, which makes people question, maybe she didn't die from unknown circumstances. Maybe something happened to her. Much like what happened to Helen. Maybe Helen had something to do with it, or maybe someone had something to do with both of their deaths. And that, guys, is my personal story, my real paranormal story of how I accidentally stayed at a haunted hotel once. And when I will never stay at again. We're not going back. We stay somewhere else. And I didn't even stay in the ghost suite. Imagine if I stayed in the ghost suite, you guys. Maybe one year I'll be brave enough and have money and we can go to the ghost suite together and we can conquer my fear of whatever happened in that hotel. That's for future Halloween me to worry about. This wraps up my Spooky Story Sundays for at least this part of the series. This is definitely something I want to bring back every year for Halloween just because it's fun. But also, if you like this kind of video, let me know down in the comments what other things you would be interested in seeing. I know a lot of you guys have left great suggestions saying you would like to hear about true crime or disappearances, or I mean, I'm even on board to talk about aliens. But if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up down below. I hope you all had a happy Halloween, and remember, there are always spooks to be found. Bye!